Hey everyone, Tyson the Subaru specialist from Subaru Prince George here, and today's video is coming about because of something that quite a few of my clients have mentioned to me and a lot of things that I've read online. And it is to do with this 11.6-inch touchscreen infotainment system. Now, a lot of people complain about glare on these screens. It's not even a particularly bright day out, and we've still got glare from the sunroof coming through. And this is not limited to just Subarus. Pretty much any vehicle with a touchscreen now, especially those giant touchscreens that every manufacturer seems to be putting in their videos. And luckily, the fine folks at Screen ProTech reached out to me seeing if I'd be willing to do an install and a review of their films. So they were kind enough to send me two. They sent me two of these tubes. One is the HD film for the Forester, and one is an anti-glare for the Crosstrek. Now, I can't tell the difference between these two tubes at first glance because the difference is a QR code on the top. So let's take a look at what's inside and what I'm getting myself into. So we have swapped to inside, and I'm going to be going through just one of these to start. Actually two, because it came with this as well, which is the install soap solution. And it comes in this really cool little package. Kind of looks like a thing of lipstick. Push it out, and it's really just a press button. All you need is one press, and that goes into here, and you fill this with hot water, and it turns into hot soapy water. So in the main tube, and this is for the Crosstrek. I'm probably just going to do this video with one in the interest of getting this video to you guys in a timely manner. So inside the Crosstrek one, we have, and it should be the same for the Forester as well. We have our squeegee. I have used something similar in the past. Works very, very well. This is a lint-free cloth, which we're going to be using for absorbing water, cleaning the screens. And then the people at Screen ProTech were kind enough to send me with what they call the install insurance, which is 2 sets. So if I muck one of these up, I have another one I can double it with. So the Crosstrek actually gets, I don't know if you can see the shape there, the piano black center console piece can be done. So I've got 2 of those. I've got our gauge cluster. So this one is going to be a challenge if you ask me. And then we have the main portion of the screen. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually little bits for the buttons. Now I'm gonna put the install instructions that Screen ProTech has in the video description, along with a discount code. So if you guys are interested in getting yourself some of this, and it's not just for Subarus, it's for pretty much every modern make and model. And it even looks like they're gonna have it for phones soon. So I'll put that discount code to save 10% off in the video description. And might make a good Christmas gift for someone. So I'm inside the Crosstrek right now. I have the soap. I filled it up with hot water, and this is a brand new screen. We recently peeled the plastic off because it's a car in the showroom. If you don't have a brand clean, spanking new screen, get some glass cleaner and then follow these steps. And first step, according to the instructions, is, and this feels wrong, just so you're all aware, it says spray it, wipe it down, and we're doing this entire panel. Now, it doesn't extend up here where the driver focus is, because not all of them have it. This is about the 11.6-inch screen and the buttons. So it says spray it down. And essentially, the more install solution you have, the easier it is to move the plastic around. If it's super dusty, it says use the squeegee to remove any of the dust and then wipe it down, like dust particles. So I'm not overly concerned because we just had this cleaned. It's a brand new vehicle. I'm pretty sure that just wiping it down with this is, of course, if you can do it the sooner in your vehicle's life cycle, the better it is, because we all know, just like with tint or something, if you have dog hair or something, it gets underneath here. And you can remove the film while you're installing if you notice that something's there, but it's obviously easier if you do it at the start. So the next part here is going to be us stripping the film off. And I actually misspoke. We do have this top portion where the driver focus system is. So while you're peeling this, it wants you to get the back edges of it wet. And that just helps. If you've done any paint protection films, like ride wrap on a mountain bike or anything like that before, this is where it's going to be beneficial. If your hands are wet, that's even better, like with the install solution. And of course, this is always a little bit more difficult for me as I'm doing it on video. And of course, I don't have someone holding the camera for me. I'm not fancy enough to have my own camera person, but give it a good spray. You've got the screen a little damp, and then you just want to use your fingers. And like, you don't have to set this on. It's not like it's a sticker where the second you lay it down, it's gonna stay. You can maneuver it. There's gonna be bubbles. That's normal, but you just kind of want to, and they call it a soft alignment. And you just kind of want to make sure that you're happy with the general area. And big thing you'll see right away, there's a bubble right there. That's going to happen. We're going to remove those. And that's where this squeegee is going to come into play. So I've got it pretty much centered how we want. Spray the squeegee a little bit, and you just kind of, what it wants you to do is kind of just tack down an area in the middle, and that you're going to work from the middle out. So essentially you're going to be removing any bubbles from the middle out. I'm just trying to noticed I wasn't exactly as square as I wanted it. And like I said previously at the beginning of the video, they make this paint protection film, screen protection film for pretty much every make and model right now. Again, get it wet, and we're gonna start in the middle. And I find it works really, really well if you go from one side, work one side, then work the other. And it just removes the water. So where we use this to dry up any excess. And we're just gonna do that entire thing. Now, it's not like I'm soaking this car, soaking the screen. I was a little initially concerned about the areas around the buttons specifically. I actually reached out to Screen ProTech. They were very, very helpful. They were very responsive, got back to me pretty quickly. I just went with the generic like helpline. I didn't reach out to the gentleman, David, who reached out to me, seeing if I wanted to show you guys how this stuff worked. But they were very, very helpful, very, very responsive. But it seems to be going on very, very smoothly. Very happy about this. Actually, a little easier than the ride wrap paint protection film I've done on bikes before. I've done paint protection film on cars, and I am by no means an expert, but this is pretty darn simple so far. And then I'm going to do the rest of the screen, and to save you guys from watching me do the exact same thing on this side, I'm just going to pause the video. So I have the right-hand side tacked down. Now, what it recommends is to wrap the squeegee in the towel, and then it wants you to go firmly around the edges after you've made sure you've got as many bubbles out of it as you possibly can. And there's probably going to be some bubbles at some point in your install, even after you think you've done the best job. Some may pop up. Give it a couple days. Most of them dissipate, they evaporate. Just like paint protection film on a car, that sometimes there's a couple bubbles, a little bit of heat over a few days, it comes out, which is really nice. So it doesn't have to look perfect initially. You give it about 3 days and it should be good. It even says to wait in the instructions a few days before you take photos showing it off, which is kind of cool. So even if there's a couple bubbles, you missed something, you weren't 100% perfect on it, it's not going to be the end of the world. And so right now, me looking at it, I can't really tell that there's film on here unless I look. And I know where I'm looking. I can tell, but like just hopping in and glancing, I can't really tell myself. I don't know if you guys can on the camera or not. So now we're going to be doing this center console here. Now this is piano black, and I hear a lot of people complain about the piano black and Subaru scratching super easily. So that's what this is. This piece right here is going to be covering. And for the Crosstrek, it's the anti-glare. So at the beginning of the video, I showed you how reflective it was when we were outside. This should hopefully dull that down. I haven't had any specific complaints about the center of the Crosstrek being like that, but we'll see. And we'll do a little ASMR of removal of the plastic film if I can get my fingers to work. Well, that was a little less than I was hoping for. I was hoping for a little bit more. So just like before, what we're going to be doing, we're going to spray it down. And we were in a good position there because you saw I took the plastic off. I am not going to use the squeegee and chance scratching this piano black below the film. So if you want to do that yourself, feel free. But as you can see, there was already a piece of hair. I'm going to give this a spray on the top for good measure. Now, they come with little patterns. This one has the cutouts for this. It will have on the website, when you go to order this, it will have the option with cutouts without, depending upon which vehicle you have and what's available. And if you see something and you're not 100% sure on it, reach out to them. Like I said before, very, very responsive. Now that discount code I was telling you guys about, that 10% off, so you can use this when you go to checkout. The discount code for 10% off is AFFSB10. So that is AFFSB10. And I am going to put that in the video description. You'll find that in there. I'm not putting it at the very top. You guys will have to read it a little bit. But I actually think that this piece is going to be a little bit more difficult than the radio screen was. The smaller stuff almost always is. It can be a little bit more finicky to lay out. But of course, depends what you're comfortable with. Lining this one up. This one is sticking already a little bit more. But so be generous with the install solution. This is good practice for any other paint films, install films you want to do in the future. But yeah, it's nice to have that. It actually fits quite nicely. And again, with this one, you kind of want to start in the larger areas and then work your way out. You want to try to get any liquids that are trapped out from the inside. And so this one's going to be probably a little bit more finicky in that regard. Also, this thin piece at the top is going to be kind of hard to set, my opinion. But we'll see how it all turns out. I guess the best part of this is if you don't like it, you can remove it. Or if you really stuff it up, mess it up, there's that install insurance where they send you 2 pieces. So in my situation, if this all goes swimmingly, I'll have another kit for another car. So I'll show you guys the finished product in a minute here. So this one did take a little bit more effort, especially around the buttonholes here. I actually could have been slightly closer down. So make sure you're really happy when you center it. This is going to be totally fine. And I know that it's not exactly centered as I would like it, but it's going to do the job of protecting. And I think, from my view, it is less reflective already. And now we're going to be getting to the one that I'm most concerned about. And that is the gauges. So this is absolutely going to be a pain to record. This is not an easy location to get to, especially with a camera right in my face. But I've already sprayed this. Again, I did not use the squeegee to clean just because this is so new and dust-free. I probably wouldn't recommend, even though this is a very soft, pliable squeegee, I probably wouldn't recommend doing it to that or any piano black. So I'm going to try to set the camera up as best I can so you guys can see how I'm going to struggle with this. This is the best angle I could find, guys. Unfortunately cannot reach the camera very easily, and hopefully this doesn't get in the way. Hopefully you guys can see it. So I have sprayed the film both sides. I've sprayed the gauges, and I have the steering wheel as low and out as far as I can to try to get as much room for me doing this as I can. And but actually this, in the gauges, they actually want you to squeeze, put the edges, squeeze is probably the wrong word. The edges are actually going to fit underneath. So where the screen meets the bezel, it's kind of hard to see. You're actually going to tuck the film under the bezel. And that is probably going to be one of the harder parts of this. I wasn't overly happy with that portion of the install because this is also convex, which is going to make it probably the hardest part. So lots of installation spray. Take your time. It's probably going to be a little bit frustrating. I understand that the lighting isn't necessarily the best in here. I'm doing this at night after hours just because I don't want someone to come in and be like, oh, I want to look at that exact vehicle that I'm doing this install in, and I don't want to have to turn someone away. I don't want to inconvenience them. And I don't want to show anyone this while I'm doing it. So I'm going to fiddle around with this portion here, getting it all lined up, and then we will get back to that. So the fact that this is concave, convex, whichever it is, has proved to be very, very difficult. I crumpled it up and it's on the floor. So super difficult to install that portion. That's anything that's kind of convex, concave. And I'm sure you guys can all appreciate that I don't want to do a job that isn't something that I would send a customer out with. I don't want it to reflect poorly on the vehicle in the showroom or for anything that we do. So I also don't see a whole bunch of people complain about reflection off of the gauges, which this film protects against, like fingerprints, marks, stuff like that. But the big thing on this one is the glare. I don't get a whole bunch of glare off the gauges myself. I mean, let me know in the comments if you do, but that is a very hard piece to do. And that's not the film's fault. That's just the nature of that. And this is a very awkward install. If it was flat, I think it would be easy. So that's on the car. That's not the film's fault. So back on the main screen, we do have these physical buttons and the raised knobs. And on our main sheet, I don't know if you guys can see them, like we've got the buttons for the top of the knobs, or the paint film for the top of the knobs and for the buttons. So what Screen ProTech actually recommends is they recommend you take your bottle of install solution, empty it out, rinse it out, and just fill it with water. So there's still going to be some, but that results in an easier time tacking it down. So I'm going to save you guys from the nitty gritty. I'm going to do that. I'll show you the final product here in a second. So I did just finish the buttons, and it's a little tedious just because they're small, but they all turned out relatively well. So the true test is going to be to see how it looks in over 24 hours. So it's Saturday night after work. I'm going to be in on Monday morning, and I'll finish up this video and we'll see how the film looks. Hopefully it looks as good as it does wet. But for your guys' information at home, ease of doing it, 1, 2, most definitely 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the most difficult. This really isn't bad. These big flat screens are super easy. Obviously, it's going to depend on what you're driving and what vehicle you have and how the screen and button orientation. But overall, big flat screens, pretty easy. So I'll see you guys Monday morning. So I'm back in Monday morning in the Crosstrek, and the film seems to have cured pretty nicely. If you look around the edges, you can definitely see where it is. But overall, I'd say that there's less glare on it, and it doesn't seem to affect the response rate or the sensitivity of the buttons, which is really nice. You can see here on the center console, a couple small bubbles that I didn't get all the water out of, but like I mentioned, those should work their way out in the next 3 days. A little bit of heat, and there are instructions on what to do if you live in a hot climate or it's super hot out when you're doing this. But yeah, overall, I think I'm getting a little bit less glare. Like, you can obviously see it's reflective, but I know the camera's not going to capture it perfectly. It's less than it was before. So the video ended up being a little bit longer than I thought it was going to be. If you guys are skipping towards the end, my overall thoughts, I think it's worth doing. It really wasn't that bad, especially if you're just looking to do the screen to cut down on that glare. Not every vehicle has a piano black center console, but the people at Screen ProTech make a fantastic product. The support's great. Check them out on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you're looking to get some, may make a great Christmas gift for someone. Use that discount code, that 10% discount code that I mentioned earlier in the video. And I did put that discount code in the video description. So at the end of the day, would I do it again? Absolutely. Would I do this on my personal vehicle? Absolutely. And I think you guys should too. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Tyson the Subaru Specialist. We'll talk soon.